Sydney Sweeney sat at the view table on a bright Wednesday morning, shoulders pulled back so tight it looked like she was bracing for impact before a word was even spoken. The audience hush was different for her. Not the hush you get for legends, but the hush for the girl they think they still get to mold, to claim, to explain away. Whoopi Goldberg welcomed her with a warm smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Sydney, you've had quite the year. Rising star, breakout roles, magazine covers, and now everyone thinks they own a piece of you. How's that feel?" Sydney's laugh was soft, the edges raw. "It feels like being 15 all over again. People forget you grow up when they've decided who you are." A few audience members murmured under their breath. They knew what she meant, that hush people keep for the girl they expect to break. Joy Behar tapped her pen, her grin slow and sharp as a blade. "Oh, come on. You're not going to sit here and tell us poor Sydney Sweeney's the victim. You're one of the most talked about women in Hollywood. You love it." Sydney's head turned, just a fraction, her eyes clear as cut glass. "You think I love strangers ripping apart my body, my family, my choices? You think I asked for that?" Joy's chuckle scratched through the hush like nails on glass. "Sweetheart, you posed for the covers. You signed up for the fame. Don't whine when it bites." Sarah Haynes shifted in her seat, eyes wide, glancing from Joy to Sydney like she wished she could vanish under the table. "Joy, that's not fair." But Sydney didn't flinch. She leaned in, her voice soft but sharp enough to draw blood. "You think you get to tell me what's fair? You've never had your baby pictures turned into clickbait. You've never had grown men dissect your worth like a prize cow. You want to talk fair? Be real." The hush rippled. Someone clapped once, then stopped, scared of the tension that cracked open at the table. Joy tilted her head, tapping her pen like she was counting down to a strike. "You're not special, Sydney. Every girl in Hollywood deals with it. The smart ones learn how to play it." Sydney's mouth twitched, something close to a bitter smile, trying to break through. "Is that what you think? That I should play it? Smile when they write lies about my family, nod when they call me trash because it sells magazines?" Joy shrugged, her grin brittle. "It's the game. You don't like it? Step off the board." Sydney's shoulders relaxed, not in surrender, but in that dangerous calm before the storm. "Maybe that's exactly what I'll do." The hush caught that line and held it like a spark too close to dry grass. Joy twirled her pen, her eyes narrowing as she leaned forward like a cat watching a bird it thought would never bite back. "So you're going to walk away from it all? Please. You'll crawl back the second you want another cover story." Sydney tilted her head, voice like velvet over a blade. "You think I need you? Or this? Maybe you needed this circus to stay relevant. Joy, I don't." The hush popped, a few gasps, a single laugh from someone in the back that sounded too shocked to be real. Sonny Hostin cut in, voice soft, trying to thread the air back together. "Sydney, you're young. It's hard." Sydney turned to her, sharp but not cruel. "No, Sonny, don't do that. Don't pat my head and tell me I'll get it someday. I get it. I see exactly what this is." Joy smirked, pen tapping. "And what's that? Go on. Enlighten us." Sydney's hands curled into fists in her lap. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. It's women tearing each other down because they think there's only enough room for one to survive. It's you pretending it's real talk when it's just another way to make money off a girl you think is too stupid to fight back. Joy's jaw twitched, her fake laugh rattling under the hush. "Don't play saint, Sydney. You show up half-naked on magazine covers. You stir it up, then you cry victim." Sydney's eyes flashed, her lips parting like she'd bite down if she didn't say it. "I'm not crying. I'm telling the truth. And the truth is you're not brave, Joy. You're bored." Sarah shifted, her voice trembling. "We can change topics." Joy snapped her fingers at her like she was swatting a fly. No. Let's hear her big speech." Sydney leaned forward, elbows on the table, her stare locked so tight on Joy it looked like she might see right through her. "You sit here every day telling women how to live, how to look, how to survive. But you tear them apart the second they don't need you anymore." A ripple of claps tried to break through the hush, scared, then stronger when no one shut it down. Joy scoffed, her grin mean as broken glass. "You think you'll survive Hollywood without playing the game? You think you'll still have fans when you stop feeding the beast? Sydney breathed in, her shoulders rolling back like a shield slipping free. Maybe I don't need fans who'd rather see me broken than real. The hush cracked wide open. A few more claps, a single "that's right" from the middle row. Joy's pen stilled on the table, her eyes hard, her voice lower than it had been all morning. Then maybe you should go. We don't need another princess pretending she's better than the spotlight that made her. Sydney's laugh came out soft, sad, final. Maybe I will. Joy sat back, folding her arms like she was daring Sydney to flinch first. Go ahead. Walk out. You think they'll clap for you when you're gone? They'll forget you faster than they learned your name. Sydney didn't even blink. Her voice came out so steady it made the hush bend around every word. I'd rather be forgotten than spend another day pretending you're someone worth listening to. A few people in the crowd gasped, a ripple of low MMMs rolling across the rows like a slow wave. Whoopi raised her brow, the faintest smirk tugging at her mouth, but she didn't say a word. She knew this wasn't hers to stop. Joy leaned forward again, her grin sharp, voice dripping with poison she'd honed over decades. You're all the same, you starlets. Pretty face, sad eyes, big talk, until it gets hard. Then you run. Sydney's jaw flexed, her fingers drumming once on the table before falling still. Funny how you talk about running when you've made a living out of chasing people down when they're already bleeding. Sarah let out a breath so loud it broke the hush for half a second. Joy, please. But Joy's laugh hitched. Look at you, all grown up. You think you're gonna walk out and show me up? Sydney's eyes narrowed, voice dropping so low the hush had to lean in to catch it. No, I think I'm gonna walk out so every girl watching knows she doesn't have to sit here and take it. The hush split. A slow trickle of claps turned into a few brave hands rising in half-hearted applause. Joy sneered, her voice cracking at the edges. You're nothing without this. Without us. Sydney's mouth twitched, not a smile, but something close to a final mercy. Then watch me be nothing, Joy. Sunny's eyes glistened. Her words caught in her throat before they could find the mic. Whoopi just crossed her arms, her gaze flicking from Joy to Sydney, like she'd seen too many of these moments to pretend this one wouldn't echo. Joy scoffed, her pen tapping, 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 but the sound was small now, like she'd realized too late that Sydney wasn't bluffing. Sydney pushed her chair back, the scrape loud enough to drown out Joy's next petty line. She stood tall, shoulders squared, chin up like she'd never needed their permission in the first place. The hush leaned forward, waiting for the last blow. Sydney stood there for a heartbeat, eyes locked on Joy like she wanted her to remember this. Not the headlines, not the gossip, but the look that said you didn't break me. Joy barked out a laugh that came out more like a cough. Go on, run home. Let's see how many people still care tomorrow. Sydney's lips parted around a small, bitter laugh of her own. Keep telling yourself you matter more than the pain you cause. Maybe one day you'll believe it. The hush bent around the low, slow clap from the middle rows, then another, and another, until the ripple turned into a soft roll of hands slapping together. Not wild, not showy, but enough to drown out Joy's tapping pen for good. Sunny's eyes shimmered, her hand halfway raised like she might reach out, but she didn't. Sarah sat frozen, her note cards bent in her white-knuckled hands. Whoopi nodded once, a tiny motion that said go. They'll twist this, but you'll still be standing. Joy spat out her last shot, voice shrill with a crack she couldn't hide. You'll be back. They always come back when the attention dries up. Sydney's eyes softened. Not pity, but something close to it, the kind of look that makes bitterness look small under a spotlight. No, Joy. Not all of us live for the table. She stepped back, heels echoing across the floor as she pushed her chair in. The hush pressed up around her shoulders, a hush that felt less like silence and more like a shield. A few people stood, clapping hard enough to be heard over the scattered grumbles of the diehards who still thought Joy had won. Sydney paused at the edge of the stage lights, her last words dropping like a stone in a pond. The next girl who sits here, I hope she knows she can get up too. Then she was gone, the hush cracking wide into applause and low murmurs that buzzed like static behind the cameras. Joy sat stiff, arms crossed, pen abandoned, eyes flicking to the audience that wasn't laughing with her anymore. And behind the exit doors, the hush followed Sydney out, not because she was running, but because this time, she'd left the table before it ever owned her.